So welcome to May 8th, Friday, May the 8th. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening and we're standing out here with one of our, actually the newest possession for myself and for M Farm Heritage Days. This 1974 Cat 977L Traxcavator is what Caterpillar called these machines back in the day. So at a farm, you always are going to be doing certain projects or need sometimes bigger equipment, bigger tractors, a loader or something like that. But also here doing the show, we've started to try to expand our dirt work program where we use the drag line that's up at the top of the hill up there behind us. And also we had a dozer up there that we were using for a while. But we wanted to expand it down here where we've been digging up some dirt and just have a better show to put on for people and stuff like that. Also, getting Mongo, the dump truck, the auto car dump truck that was such a fan favorite here a while back, and getting it back on the road and running. Now we're sitting in a situation where we needed something that could actually load a truck, also push dirt in a pretty strong fashion like a bulldozer, and also just handle odd jobs of moving things, towing things around the farm. And that put us down to something of a track loader, which is, I'm going to call it a southern delicacy. A lot of other places in the country, they'll use excavators to dig basements, they'll use wheel loaders to load material out, and they'll use bulldozers for finish grading. In the South, we were primarily notorious for coming up with these machines and asking Caterpillar to develop something like this. They did use them in other parts of the country, don't get me wrong, but we use this as a one-size-fits-all. You can dig a basement with it, you can load trucks with it, you can finish grade with it. They were very versatile, and that makes it very handy for us here on the farm. I want to say the first ones were the 31, 41, and 51 Traxcavator series that came from Caterpillar. Alice Chalmers and others did it beforehand with pretty success, and then Caterpillar got into the market. This generation is the second generation. There was the 955s, there was the 977s, and then there was the biggest Traxcavator that was ever built by Caterpillar was the 983, and it was effectively a D8 size machine with a front bucket on it. Going through it, the 955 is very popular, but we kind of like bigger stuff and we're guilty of liking bigger tractors. So I had my heart set on a 977. Also, I like the 6-cylinder engine versus the 4-cylinder engine, both of the 3300 series. And I found myself looking for a 977 and found this one in Scottsboro, Alabama. It belonged to a family up there who had used it part-time to develop their land, develop their property, and they had bought it from a farmer who had also used it to develop his property, build his house, and handle those type of things. And it's pretty wore down, I'm not gonna lie. It was cheap, but there's reasons it was cheap, and as we walk around the machine here in a minute, we'll show you those things. It's got a lot of pin wear, it's got some undercarriage problems, and the life cycle for these machines often was becoming a new machine, frontline machine, working in the grading program. These got really outpaced by hydrostatic machines, 53s, 63s, 73s. The later rear engine track loaders are much faster, and these are kind of dinosaurs pretty much in today's market for a production environment. So they wind up going into secondhand market. And a lot of times people won't do the maintenance or do the repairs, or things will just slowly start getting worse and worse on them until they're not running anymore, and then they're relegated to scrap heap or something like that. This one's not there. This one's in okay shape, but does have some repairs that need to be done. And we picked this machine up sub $10,000. It was about half that, about close there. And it runs pretty good. It does have a lot of wear in a lot of certain areas, but we're excited to have it here, get it out and do some repairs to it, and look forward to fixing it up and using it for our future program here come September. Like I said, it's running, steering, and driving right now, and we'll show you that here in a few minutes. But also, we're going to try to make this a little bit nicer machine and bring back some of its former glory. I'm an old cat hound. I worked for the Caterpillar dealer here in Georgia for several years. I've always loved these machines, and I'm super excited to have this one as part of my collection of utter absurdity here lately with monster machines. But hey, you're going to have some vice, and I guess old iron's going to be mine. Diesel Creek said, it's because I have the money of an adult and the self-control of a toddler. So that's kind of what happened here with this stuff. So yeah, we're playing the same game all over again. But this should be fun and interesting, and like I said, looking forward to having something monster to scratch dirt with here. So I don't know if I'm going to get everything done before September, but in some of the videos, especially backing it off the truck, we hauled it in on from Alabama. The Edge family helped us out with that again, moving it. We moved it on one of their detached trailers. If you watch me backing off, you'll notice this track is really loose. The spec's supposed to be, you know, about a inch to 2 inches, but this has got a lot of slack in it. This front idler, I have all the plates and the guards, but the outer plates and the outer guide bars that would sit on the outside of the roller frame are missing. It's got broken bolts in various locations, as you can see. The pillow blocks on either side are broke out here. The chunks are there for where things bolt in and screw down. It's kind of in rough shape. It's been welded back together. This is going to have the track broken, pull this idler out, pretty much rebuild this idler and rebuild everything back to the yoke with new pillow blocks, new everything else. The reason this track is so loose is we were fiddling around a minute ago and tried to adjust the track, but got the infamous, if you look behind back here in between the retainer for the roller spring and everything else, when I pump grease in, you see it just shooting straight out of the seal, so the track adjuster seals are blown out. Not uncommon for this type of machine. Also, the recoil spring right here is broken. The whole recoil spring is broken. You can get these new assemblies, but it's going to wind up pretty much being rebuilding this roller frame. And if you know anything about recoil springs, doing these are kind of tricky. We're going to have to be very careful about that. We'll probably wind up torching this one into a couple of more pieces before disassembling, just for safety's purposes. And then when we put it back together, we'll have a whole assembly where we can put it back together safely, verify all the brackets aren't rusted around the roller frame, paint all this to prevent corrosion, and go from there. Actually pretty surprised at the condition of the undercarriage on this machine. It's not bad. The rails, the pins, if you know anything about these, the pins have not been turned. The bushings are on their original run. Got a little bit of a wear in it, but not bad. There's not a whole lot of slop in the plates, and the rails are pretty good. It's got pretty good sprockets on it. The rollers all seem to be working with some minor wear. So it's not a 90% undercarriage, but it's probably 75 to 80% undercarriage. This machine has a old style, what do they call this? Standard safety cab or safety cab company. It's a conversion kit that would have gone on the original ROPS and had all these brackets. You can see all the glass is gone and the doors are missing. We're probably going to take that off and just leave it as an open ROPS. I kind of like that look better, or probably put some guarding and something around it to prevent stuff from flying in the cab with you, but we're not going to put glass and everything back in it or put Lexan back in it. The sheet metal is actually okay. There's a few dents in the fuel tank and a few dents in the hydraulic tank, but overall, it's pretty solid. It's got a heck of a lot of counterweights on it. Looking at some of the arrangement numbers, I think this machine might have had a waste management attachment, or might have also had a forestry attachment. We've had these covers off there here too, but we had a broken turn spring on the steering clutches. We're kind of looking at that. We're checking fluids and starting to get into where we're going to service it. This side, the track adjuster seems to be okay, but we're still going to get in here, take all these guards off, inspect this recoil spring, inspect this track adjuster and everything on this idler over here, and verify that we don't get into the same situation we have on the other side where we're possibly going to throw a track. The pins, the loader frame on a lot of these, it hasn't been greased in a while, and a lot of these pins, you can see where this is all beat up and the bolts are chewed up and it's got, you know, a lot of wear in it and slop in it. We're trying to fix that. One of the first things that we have to fix right now is this line from, I've got this line on order right here, but this line that comes around from the back of the cylinder for the downstroke of the cylinder, somebody got a log or something wedged up in there at some point and lowered the cylinder down on it and smushed it flat, and they've since brazed it back shut, but it's even dripping a little bit right now just sitting here. You can see it leaking a little bit of fluid, but found a dealer in Oregon that actually had that line and ordered it brand new from Caterpillar at not a bad price. One of the wildest things, it's got the standard old Caterpillar exhaust studs rotted out on it, and it's got a couple of blown gaskets at the manifold. It sounds like an old pulpwood truck running. As a matter of fact, I think the manifold even might have a hole in it right there. Yeah, if you look at that, you can see how it's almost rotted out, so it'll need a new manifold put on it. That's fine, they're still available. This is the A-Series pre-cup 3306 engine, which is the engine I actually wanted. These engines are very robust, very reliable, run forever, but pretty much their only problem is the governor leaks oil on the injection pump, and they're known for exhaust manifold problems, and this has got both. The wild thing is the turbo, the clamp that holds the turbo to the cartridge is broken completely, and the cartridge is just flopping around in the turbo housing, so we're going to have to take all that apart when we reseal this and try to get it where it's actually a turbo engine again. It needs fan belts, it needs other things in fixing the exhaust. The hard nose has some dings and some dents in it, and the guard's been pushed back. Something you kind of expect for a 1974 machine that would be there. And the cylinders are a little leaky and stuff like that, but not terrible. It's better than some things. One thing that's unique on this that goes back to, if you come around here and look over the top of the hood, there's two things that make me think it had all this where it had like jaws and claws on it for forestry arrangement. Also on top of the lift frame, you see the two connection lines where it had the two hoses hooked to it that would have been for auxiliary attachments on the bucket. And then the one thing below the air cleaner bowl, it has the screen. That's not a standard option. That screen was shown as waste handler arrangement or forestry arrangement. I don't know which one it is. And if anybody knows that about Caterpillar and can state in what they think it might have done or might have been used for originally, let me know in the comments. It was, like I said, it had a cab on it, it had a heater on it, it had some weird options. We're going to kind of take it into a standard dirt working, farm working machine and try to spruce a few things up. We have a lot of the guards, a lot of the parts, a lot of the pieces we need to fix it. The main things we're going to work on now is fixing the exhaust, servicing it because we don't believe it's been serviced in a long time, and then it's going to be fixing and going through this left-hand track idler roller frame and verifying that while we're playing around with it, we actually don't throw a track off. That would not be a fun program to have while we're actually trying to load the dump truck or something like that. But I'm excited, so we're gonna fiddle around with it today. I've put some fuel treatment in it. We drained a little bit of water and slurry off the bottom of the diesel tank. It actually had half a tank of fuel in it, and we put some cetane boost, some Lucas injector cleaner in it, and also some diesel clear. So if there's any water or algae in the bottom of the tank, we can go ahead and try to get that cleaned out before we start changing fuel filters and servicing it. So. So speaking of size, I'm 6'2", 6'3", and that gives you a scale of what this is for a 977. They're not small machines. And when we got it here, it is the size that would be normally to load a big truck like Mongo, the auto car. It would be that size. It would probably be 3-4 scoops, we're guessing, and the truck would be full and on its way. So it was a high production machine, but they are kind of a mountainous machine to climb up on and get up on. This one, like I said, had the cab on it at some point, but we'll be taking some of this cab stuff off. It also had this old style heater here that is kind of a unique piece, but not going to stay with the machine. So it has been, when did we bring this thing in? Wednesday, and today is Friday. So it's been 2 days since it's been cranked. I don't know if the glow plugs work on this thing or not, but I'm going to give them a glow plug for a minute and we are going to see if it will actually crank up today and see how it sounds today. Let's see. I'm going to shut this off for a second because you can hear how loud this exhaust is, but I'm going to pick it up, drive it forward and backward just to show you. We did buy a functional 977. It's really wet, so I'm not going to steer because I don't want to tear the ground all to pieces, but you can at least see it run for a second. Well, there it is in all its smoky, old, leaking hydraulic oil glory, our 1974 977L Caterpillar Traxcavator. What a machine. They're tough as nails, and this one's lived a long life, but we're going to try to breathe some more life back into it in the coming weeks and months here at the MM Farm Heritage Days.
We hope y'all got as much enjoyment out of watching this video as we did out of making it. We're trying really hard to produce some videos that are worthwhile and help y'all learn about what we're doing here at MM Farm Heritage Days. If you like it, if you don't mind, help us out. Click that like button and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next time.